Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider, the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brywell alongside Blake Spartman's golf coach here at the University of Memphis. And Coach, you guys obviously have been back now for a month or so from Christmas break. Guys back in the school, back in their routine. I know Christmas break for every coach is always kind of a scary thing. They get a break, but how are they going to come back from that break? So how'd you feel when the guys came back?
Yeah, I had a few guys play some tournaments, which I think is always important. It's almost a 4-month gap between end of fall and start of spring. So a couple guys played over the break. Lars and Thomas played in the Jones Cup a few weeks ago, which is a big-time amateur tournament, really special for them. So, yeah, it's a good break because we get some time away from each other, but it is a long time. I know strength and conditioning kind of starts over a little bit. A lot of things kind of start over a little bit. So, but coming back, I think everybody's in a good spot.
Yeah, the golf's a unique sport where the guys, as you mentioned, can go off and play in tournaments on their own. They don't count against anything, and they can stay in that and keep that competitive edge.
Yeah, it's really necessary. A lot of times, as much as I hate to say it, guys make big jumps in those times of year because there's no school pressure. Mom and dad are kind of taking care of a lot of stuff. So it's an important time for them to make that investment, and hopefully it leads to some good golf this spring.
Overall, after Christmas break, and then you had the fall, how do you feel coming in this year?
Yeah, the fall I think was overall successful. Lars and Thomas carried a lot of the load. I think a lot of the other guys realized that they need to step up a little bit and have done some things different over the break. A lot of good conversations, figuring stuff out, growing up, because we had 6 new guys starting the year. So
right.
They're kind of into the system now, and they know what to expect from me, and I kind of know what buttons I can push from which guys now.
Coach, I know kind of a chilly week in Memphis. Fortunate to have the Flott Golf Center to be in and out of that. When the spring or the winter so far has been relatively mild for this time of year. How much have you been able to get outside, and how much you've been able to accomplish so far?
Yeah, way better than the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe more normal. A little bit wet, but we've had days in short sleeves, and we've had days where you're kind of wearing as much as you're comfortable with. So overall, I don't think weather's been an issue for us at all. So our preparation's been pretty consistent, and the Flott is awesome. I mean, even on the worst of days, we're out doing something, which is great.
Now coming toward the spring, we'll talk about a couple of your tournaments in a moment. Everything kind of going toward where you want it to be once you get ready to play. Yeah,
I think so. 4 tournaments coming up before conference, and spring break. Starting on spring break's a lot different. We usually have played a tournament by now. I think the last couple winters scared me off. Wanted to push it back a little bit. So our first tournament is on the front end of spring break, and then as we kind of work our way back to Memphis, we're going to stop at some special places and play golf and kind of have a nice week. Yeah. So we'll spend about a week together just to go ahead and kick everything off. But the guys, they know they need to be in that van leaving for that tournament.
You mentioned spring break, so it's going to be Bluffton, South Carolina, the Carlton River Collegiate. Tell us about are you familiar with that course? Have you ever been there? And what's the field look like?
Well, I actually went over the summer. It hosted the U.S. Junior.
Okay.
So I got to walk around probably 3 or 4 rounds and watch the best juniors in the country play it. So I think I've got a little bit of a feeling and what to prepare them for. First 9 holes is kind of back in the trees, and then the back 9 gets out on the water. So if the wind's up, it's really exposed. It can be tough in its own way. But beautiful piece of property. Hilton Head will be nice. And as long as we catch some decent weather, I think it'll be a great trip.
How's the field over there? Do you know all the schools yet?
Yeah, it's the host is actually Michigan State.
Okay.
So it's a mix of Southern and Northern. And early in the year, a lot of times people are just trying to feel their way. Most of the time you don't jump into crazy strong tournaments early because everybody's knocking rust off and trying to figure out where they're at.
You're going to turn around also in early March to Valspar down in Stuart, Florida. So you should get pretty good weather down there.
Yeah, weather's going to be great. Unbelievable tournament. I think last year it was top 5 strength of schedule. So that's kind of jumping in to the deep end. Last year we didn't fare very well in terms of the finish, but an awesome experience for the guys to be alongside the teams that are vying for national championships. And I think this year being the second time through, the eyes won't be quite as big. We'll be more comfortable with the venue. It's one of those places, I think we played a practice round and maybe we're looking for reasons why the course was hard.
Right.
And great teams don't do that. And I think after the first round, when they saw the scores that got shot, the light kind of switched on. It's like, okay, we need to start looking for reasons to play great. And the last 2 rounds were a lot better.
So. That sets up pretty well your schedule then. So you go over to Bluffton, play in a solid tournament, kind of get your feet up under you. Then you kind of, like you said, jump in the deep end and let's go head-to-head against the best in the country.
Yeah, and then we head over to Vanderbilt, who is hosting a regional. So a little look at a regional golf course and a really solid field. And then we fly over to the Maxwell, which is an old event that's been reborn, hosted by Oklahoma State, which I came from Oklahoma, so it'd be nice to go back. But a really cool old golf course, and the field's awesome. So we have 2 blockbuster fields before conference championships. So I think that'll be something good to lead into some good performance at the league.
You'll be down in Florida in May for the American Championships. Your thoughts on the American Conference this year?
Really, again, I think I've said this every time we've met, but really deep. I think the first 5 schools in the league are all within 20 spots of each other in the rankings. And in our sport, there's a lot of parity now. Yeah. So it's really kind of up in the air, which is exciting. I think everybody's got a chance at the top end of the league. So you go play great and you get your ring and move on to regionals.
Sounds good. Coach, as always, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you this spring.
Thank you.
That is Blake Smart, men's golf here at the University of Memphis. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.